Johnson, and this is focused on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Home affairs, in diaspora, foreign affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sier, the pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is Friday night debate. If it is Friday night here, then it is Friday night debate. I heard a bell, and Dennis will be timing. Again, Anthony Sier moderating along with my partner Dennis Yah in this edition of Friday night debate. We have a very unique topic, and the topic for today's debate: should Fonati Koffa stay as speaker or not? If you are not aware, the House of Representatives is divided over the removal of Speaker J. Fonati Koffa. They have a resolution, and they listed their reason why they want him out as their speaker. But they don't have the required number as required by the Liberian Constitution. 49 members needed to sign a resolution in order for him to be removed. They have not reached that number yet, so Fonati hangs on. What should be done? Well, Mr. Dennis Jah is here. Dennis, welcome to Friday Night Debate. How are you doing? Are you ready for this debate, by the way?
Let's do it. The topic of Councillor Fonati Koffa, his removal or staying there, has not gone away. I mean, other things have come and gone, but still, this topic is hot. People, because there is a pattern, something has happened. 2 times, a speaker was removed under a unity party-led government. Now we are saying the same thing. So people are wondering if unity party means speaker removal or not. So the topic is not going away. Even the bribery or allegations have not been gotten the kind of legs that this removal or the plans to remove him has gotten. So let's dig a little deeper to see if actually Fonati J. Koffa should be removed as speaker or not. Should he resign? Or should he stay on and wait for the 2/3 majority, which is 49 members, to remove him? What's going to happen if he stays or if he goes? Who's going to replace him? How is it going to look like? What will be the implication come 2029? with all this, the debaters are ready, and let's get it going. Back to you, Anthony.
Thank you, Dennis. Talking about let's get it going. Seated and ready is Mr. A. Walker Dukley joining us from Canada. Mr. Dukley, welcome to Friday Night Debate. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you, Anson. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Joining us in today's edition of Friday Night Debate is the presenter of Focus on Liberia, the Liberian History Channel, Carl Formula. Carl, it's good to have you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I think this is my first time on Friday Night Debate, so I'm excited. I look forward to exchanging ideas. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and I'm happy to have you here to debating the issue. Seated and ready is our Sustainable Development Coach, Pastor S.T. Salif. He's ready for the debate. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. It's good to be here and to say to my sister, Carl Famula, welcome to the Lion's Den. Friday Night Debate is no joke.
Thank you, and thank you. Also, seated and ready is the man from the city of politics. Jimmy Eastman joins us from the nation's capital. Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm good. I really consider this a tragedy, that what is going on. You know, if it was for misconduct, abuse of office, malfeasance, or even dereliction of duty, I would understand. But if you read between the lines, it's very unfortunate what's happening right now.
Thank you. Well, that will set the stage for the debate. We will ask the debaters for their reaction to what we know to be going on now with the removal of J. Fonati Koffa. Dennis said something earlier that I want to reinforce. I believe it was 2007 when Edwin Melvin Snow Jr. was put under pressure and he had to resign his position as Speaker of the House of Representatives. My understanding is that the matter went to even the Supreme Court. There was a ruling in his favor, but then he was not feeling comfortable by not having majority of his colleagues on his side. So Speaker Snow then had to resign. Similar thing happened to Alice Tyler, and I believe the verdict started 2007 to 2016. There was a bribery allegation against him, scandal and all that. He too had to resign. So there is a precedent now for Speaker resigning as a result of allegation and so on and so forth. In those two instances I cited, the opposition to those two speakers never had the 2/3 majority as required by law. Similar case we have with Fonati. So like those who want to see Fonati out are thinking that Fonati will follow suit. Should Fonati do it? Because some other scholars are saying, look, this is a dangerous precedent, so we shouldn't go that way. On that note, let's get your reaction, Jimmy. What do you make of all this? What is your introductory statement here to today's debate? Please go ahead.
Okay, so
Jimmy, before you come in, I just want to note that Fonati means wait for your time.
Oh, okay.
That adds to the complexity of the situation we are discussing. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So what I can gather from the complaints, it does indicate that they are blaming him for some malfeasance, some unlawful, dishonest way he's been carrying out his duties, in that he's representing entities that he should not be representing. He's and that's what a major complaint. But when you dig down and find out where their complaints about, it's about who he has appointed to committees, and as the word that's circled around, lucrative committees. I even cringe when I hear about people being assigned to lucrative ministries. Wait a minute. Are these ministries and entities a place that the people are supposed to get money from? Are they not there to do people's duty? Then they talk about lucrative. And if that is what their problem is, after as we all know, the legislature is paid more exorbitantly. They paid more than any other civil servant or any other person in government. They're given allowances for gas and housing. They're given vehicles every 2 or 3 years. They've given first they had a $30,000 project allocation. Now they've upped it to 100,000 in the House and 150 in the Senate. With all this, do they still have to bleed these committees of the little money we put out to carry out projects? I think this is greed, and we can clearly see that none of this is in our interest, and as a result, all this brouhaha, all this what they're doing, it will amount to nothing to the Liberian people. I think we need a committee to address the abuses and the exorbitant fees that we pay these people, so that we can the next people will not be governed by greed and lust for money. If we don't do that, I see our country not bulging, not going anywhere. A lot of this should be going toward education. It should be going toward healthcare. It should go toward infrastructure development. It should be going to encouraging businesses and small businesses and whatnot. But it's all going into personal consumption. So we're in a peril.
Jimmy, thank you. And let me come to you, Pastor Soliv. Should Fonati stay or should Fonati go? Where you stand and why?
Well, thank you, Mr. C. I think the honorable thing to do is to resign. That's just an honorable thing. This is not about right or wrong or what people are doing or shouldn't be doing. The honorable thing to do as a statesman, you just step aside for various reasons. Number one, there's just too much pressure, too much chaos going on. The misrepresentation of that of Liberia's image in the international community is just it's a bad optic for a country like Liberia. So the best thing to do is to resign. Are there examples? Yes. In 2007 in Nigeria elected her only first female Speaker of the House, Patricia Ette. And you can go there, the records are there. I was living in Nigeria at the time. What was the allegation? She became Speaker. She spent how many millions to renovate her office, bought some cars and all that. And the Nigerian Parliament came together that she should go. They put her under pressure for weeks, and she did the honorable thing and resigned. That's what happens. So the reason that I don't understand, and I'm not for the government, I'm not for the minority black, I'm not for the majority black, I'm for the optic that Liberia is sending out to the world. The best thing for Fonati to do is resign. But I'm asking myself as I'm preparing to come on the show, why is he being adamant that he must continue? Is there something that he's trying to hide or cover up? Because if you have nothing to hide, I just cited the instance of the very and the only female speaker of the Nigerian Parliament. She had to resign under same circumstances. The House, they have their own rules. I know he's gone to Supreme Court trying to do. When it comes to separation of power, I don't think the Supreme Court can regulate the legislature. It's the legislature that should regulate the Supreme Court.
Mr. Sia, before you go to your next, I want to ask Pastor Sullivan, are you saying anytime people ask the speaker to resign, he should resign? Is that the reason?
Well, that's what I said. It depends on what rules they have in the House. The rule says, I just read it, and let me read the article Article 49. It did not ask about what crime the person committed, and I can read it to you. I got it right.
I mean, what precedent would that say? Soon people come together, they say move, then you move. Then the next day they say move, you move.
But Mr. John, yeah, I'm coming. The same thing happened here in America. The Republican decided to come up with a rule of one person that can vacate the seat. And so Margaret Taylor Greene decided to vacate Mark Johnson because Mark Gates vacated Kevin McCarthy. So what are we saying? That it's a unique to Liberia? It has not happened in any other country around the world? No, it's happening. All that I'm saying, because of the pressure and a bad uptake that is given to Liberia's image in the international community, the honorable thing for Koffa to do is to just step down, because even if he decides to stay on, he cannot have a quorum. So that means it's a stalemate. There's nothing going to happen in the country. Because of one man, we should protect one man and the whole country be at a standstill. He does not run the majority black. He's in the minority black. So if he cannot get a quorum, the House is not going to do anything. So what do we prefer? That the one man continue to hold the country back?
Thank you.
No. Yeah.
Call. Should Fonati stay or should Fonati go?
So the first thing I want to make clear, and I think we're behaving as though he's being impeached from his elected position as a member of the House of Representatives, and that's not what's happening. You know, the leadership of the House, the Speaker, is just a first among equals. It's not something that, you know, the voters decide, the citizens. This is something that his colleagues decide. And honestly, if enough of them get together and decide to remove him, they have every right to do so. And they really don't need a good reason. They just need to agree to do it. I mean, the cause, it just says with cause, the cause could be they don't like his clothes. I mean, whatever it is, if they don't like his policies, they think that he's too ambitious or he's too whatever. I don't personally, though, with all that, I don't think he should resign. I think that they should remove him when they have the numbers. This idea that there's some stalemate in the House and nothing can get done, it's probably good for the country. You know, the thing that of all of this that's very disturbing to me is that we have not listened to the voices of our representatives discussing any issues that actually affect the citizens. But their little personal infighting has become a national issue. They're not talking about the fact that our K through 12 education is one of the worst in the country. I mean, the world, I'm sorry, in the world. They're not talking about the fact that we have one of the most unstable and inadequate healthcare systems on the planet. They're not talking about the pollution of our waterways and the air that we breathe in Liberia. They're not talking about the floating trash in the Mesorado River and Stockton Creek. They're not talking about the fact that children are still dying of preventable, causes like malaria. They're not talking about all of these crises that are affecting the citizens that empower them. They're not talking about malnutrition and infant mortality rates being higher than they should be in this modern world. They're not talking about, child abuse. They're not talking about the growing drug problem in the country. They're not talking about the fact that the University of Liberia doesn't have a functioning library. They're not talking about anything that's important to the citizens. It has become an issue where we're going to get together now and talk about who they're going to pick out of the group of them to lead them. It's not really that important. The thing is, while it's true that the Speaker of the House is third in line to the presidency, there's a lot of things that have to happen before that man can ascend. This is just a leader among their little group of people. So as far as I'm concerned, Fonati should hold his ground because they don't have the numbers to remove him. Bullying people into resignation when you don't have the numbers to remove them is not proper. There's nowhere in our Constitution that says you must resign from leadership of the House of Representatives because you're being bullied. So he were able to yell at him, from what I understand, to elect him as Speaker because he gave them, cold water to do so, allegedly. And people don't have enough cold water to get a vote to get him out. Let him go sit down. They basically have aired all their dirty laundry. Councilor Koffa has basically snitched on the entire House of Representatives, so the whole country know what they're up for. And he probably has way more ammunition where that came from. So if they do remove him from leadership, he's probably going to be the most sophisticated agitator the House of Representatives has ever had. We've had people like Yeket running around saying things, but because Fonati, as we all know, has a Juris Doctorate degree and really understands the law, if they remove him by force, I believe Fonati is going to flip. And they're going to.
I want you to end on this note. You are looking at the Constitution and you're saying they don't have the vote. They shouldn't bully him. Let them meet the constitutional requirement. And to your point too, Fonati himself said, look, if they get 49, I'm out. He said that.
It's that simple. It's not,
my question is, I'm trying to premise my question here. I also want us to look at the moral standing, the honorable standing of Fonati to be speaker. In Fonati's recent interview, he said that the way they have been appropriating the budget in the House of Representatives has been the Waste, Means, and Finance Committee is sent to a hotel where they sit there, then they call Minister X, hey, we want to give you your 7 million, but
Right.
I mean, you got to give us this, and then you can get your 7 million. Fonati said, Uncle, that is how the House of Representatives, on behalf of the House of Representatives, I mean, the Waste, Means, and Finance Committee, on behalf of the House of Representatives, been appropriating the budget. In my judgment, this is a confession that he's making. Does that not rob him the honorable standing to remain Speaker of the House of Representatives?
I don't think it robs him of anything. He's basically indicting and implicating everyone in that house. You know, that's why I said the counselor has basically turned into a super snitch. I love it. He's snitching on himself. He's snitching on everybody else. He's got a lot more that he's going to say if they dare remove him. I don't think he should resign. I think they should remove him by force, and I think he should sing like a bird when he is removed by force, because they're not impeaching him. He's still an honorable. He still represents the small population of people he represents in Grand Crew, right? There's a lot of things that these people could be discussing. The fact that we have unequal representation in the House, that one person can be a representative and represent a fraction of the people that another person represents. That is absurd. It's unconstitutional. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the fact that the House exists in an illegitimate way. And Mr.
I don't know where you're going with representing a fraction and the Grand Crew is small.
Because the Constitution requires equal representation. So a citizen in Grand Crew or Bopolu is not more valuable than a citizen in Montserrado or Bassa, right? Mm-hmm. We're supposed to have proportional representation. And the counties originally were designed to be created based on population, not on tribe. So the idea that we have these very small counties, administrative districts, that have representation disproportionate to their population is wrong. It's unconstitutional.
Well, that's therefore, a whole different topic.
It is a different topic. My point of bringing it up is that we have a Juris Doctor degree holding lawyer serving as Speaker of the House. This is not a concern. But what is a concern is the thing that all of them are doing together. And we have a Supreme Court that observes this and does nothing about it. So let Fonati stay there. I look forward to them, if they're able to impeach him. If they do so, I really believe I know how he's going to respond to that removal. And it's going to be very, very good for the country, because he's going to expose a lot of things.
Thank you. And folks, if you are just joining us, this is Friday Night Debate here at Focus on Liberia. Mr. A. Walker Dukley, where do you stand? Should Fonati stay, or should Fonati remove or resign, and why?
Thank you for the question, Anthony. If you recall, on this very platform, I said that this is the beginning of the end for Fonati Koffa. Simply just going by the two presidents that were cited earlier in your intro, just going by that, but also looking more closely to what led to the two previous ones that occurred, the circumstances of those two incidences. And Cole and Brother Salif, you see, all the things that you describe, all the things you talk about, those are things that you expect in a properly functioning democracy or a properly functioning legislature, where the people are honorable to the point where, if necessary, they will do the honorable thing. And that's not what we are up against here. That's not what we are seeing in our House of Representatives here. And going back to my initial impression of this whole situation, Fonati is not going to survive this. and simply because this whole situation was brought about simply because Fonati was determined to audit the house. And we all know what would happen and the implication of that audit, at least from my sources, that is the basis upon which this whole thing was triggered. And with that said, you see, it's not about who is going to take over when Koffa is removed. Those people are not. I don't think there are any concern about replacing him, but they are more concerned about achieving their objectives, which is to removing him. So, and really, if you look at the basis upon which they want to remove him, I mean, their declare basis or their declare intentions does not align with anything, absolutely nothing to do with the Liberian people or the people they are even representing, like you said rightly, Kaul. So we are not talking about people here who are willing and prepared to do the honorable thing. No. If they're going to literally drag him from there, that's what they would do. But he's not going to survive this. He cannot survive this because they are determined. And Brother Salif talked about the only female Speaker of the Nigerian House. And if you look at that story closely, the situation was not even as grave as what we are talking about here in Liberia. But because she felt resigning is going to restore normalcy to the house, resigning was going to put an end to all the chaos and the aggression that was being carried out before her resignation. So the proper thing to do to put all to an end is to resign. And I tell you, Koffa is not going to.
Mr. Douglas, you were continuing here. Don't you think this is setting a dangerous precedent? Dennis was trying to speak to that editor. Look, just because few people get together who don't want this person, then the person is let go, just to find out that person is being replaced with another person who will not focus on the Liberian people. So what's the essence of this change in the first place?
Well, the president is there already. They're not setting any president. They are not setting any new president. The president is there already. As you alluded to in your intro, Anthony. So this is just the continuation of that precedent that we saw in the two previous mentioned incidences. Mm-hmm. So and expect the next president to even face similar fate, because it's not become their MO. If you representatives are disgruntled of somebody for whatever reason, they can just come after him and then make sure that he's no longer the speaker. So the president is there. They're not setting any new president. It is there already. It's been established.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Ducle, you also mentioned. Hold on. You also mentioned that it is because of audit that they are trying to remove him. The resolution did not mention anything about audit. In their resolution, they mentioned conflict of interest.
Of course not.
Fonati is representing clients that are doing business with the Liberian people. They also mentioned dishonesty in parliamentary dealings. They accuse him of, being unilateral in his selection. For example, someone was sent to ECOWAS, and they said that decision was unilateral. They talk about budget mismanagement. They also talk about unilateral alteration of the budget. You remember the budget alteration? Fonati committee together to carry on an investigation. He said, well, the budget was altered, but he couldn't tell who actually did it and no accountability whatsoever. So they had a resolution and they listed the things that they have against him. So I don't know where you're coming from with audit. Fonati, if they're talking about audit, Fonati was deputy speaker, I think, for 6 years. So any audit will bring him. You want to tell me during CDC time, they didn't carry on all kinds of dubious allocation as his own confession that how they allocated the budget. It will also implicate him. So I don't think it's about audit. I want to believe them for one thing.
Yes, Anthony, what I was trying to say here is that, they will have to say something. They will have to come up with something why they want him out. With that said, but the audit that I'm referring to, he did talk about audit, even though they are not using audit as one of their reasons. But I can tell you, in the final analysis of the whole saga, when it's all said and done, you will see that it will have a direct link to this auditing that I've just talked about. Because even though they might not have mentioned it in their reasoning for wanting him out, and this conflict of interest, it's not new. It's not something that started today. They knew of this conflict of interest from the day Fonati Koffa entered the house. So to come and say because it's all part of that, for me, I consider it to be part of their shenanigan. But again, like I said, they are just bent on making sure that he does not remain speaker, and that's what is going to happen. Because, like I said, the president is already set. Now, as far as I can tell, the House is on a standstill right now, where they cannot achieve a quorum to have a session, because and the Fonati have gone to the Supreme Court so that they can activate Article 33 of the Constitution, so they will be able to have session. But again, it's all just part of the continuation of what we know, at least in my estimation, is going to end with he not being the speaker.
Yeah, but if I may add quickly,
and Jimmy, you have not answered the question too.
Separate interviews with different representatives reveal that it's all because of these committee assignments. They're claiming that he's assigning certain people. We're not getting anything. What do you mean we're not? I think what we should be focused on, there's been a breach of public trust here. And there are a lot of legal and ethical implications. But we're not bothering with that. We're only going at, they want to unseat him. No, let's investigate these accusations.
And Jimmy, we'll get to that. The first question we're asking, where do you stand? Whether or not Fonati should stay or go? Where do you stand? You think he should stay?
Well, it's not on my opinion, but I know he will have to leave because now he has a whole group, majority or whatever, against
he said he's not going anywhere until he's removed constitutionally, meaning
what they will do,
and he will
they
go.
will not sit. Yeah, but they will not sit under his gavel. So they can cause this stalemate that will eventually have to force him to leave. That's what is going to happen.
That's exactly what they are intending to do.
When you say force, Jimmy, how are they going to force him?
By not attending session. I mean, once they don't have quorum, they can't do anything.
They're not going to be functional. And after a while, when they're not functional, he will have nothing but to do but simply resign. So that
constitutionally speaking, they won't have to 3rd or 49 for him to be removed. So if he stands his ground, as he is saying he will, I don't think anyone can hold him responsible.
No, the thing is, Article 33 of the Constitution, as they are trying to seek the intervention of the the Supreme Court, it requires only a simple majority, and once you have the simple majority, you can have a quorum.
Yeah, so but right now he doesn't have the simple majority, and we don't know when he's going to have the simple majority.
Yeah, but I mean that's what he's seeking through the Supreme Court.
Yeah, so why if you are patriotic to your country, why do you want to hurt your country in that way by remaining obstinate to say, you know what? Why if it takes them 4 months to get that simple majority? I have the Constitution pulled up right now, and I can read.
Mr. Salim, why are you seeing Fonati here? Fonati is not the only one in this fight.
Yes.
You have about now 47 signed the resolution.
Yes. Yeah.
Downgraded to 43, right? So 43 are also in the fight. He's not in the fight alone. He got about 30 people. But it's like you are saying that he's the one going to call a statement. Why don't you think the others who are trying to force him out are also, guilty of the statement if there is?
No, he causes a statement because the battle is about him. He is the head of the House of Representatives. Like I said, and I will reiterate, the honorable thing to do if you care about your country is to step aside. It's better to say, hey, that's the former speaker who resigned, than to say that's the former speaker who was impeached. Because the longer this thing drags on, other people could join the 43. And once they get 49, they're not giving him room to resign. They're going to impeach him because they will have the 2/3. Article 33, I have the 1986 Constitution, the whole Constitution. I have it on my screen right now. Okay, so the most
Can I come in for a second? So they're not trying to impeach him, they're just removing him from leadership.
1 second, let me just land. 1 second, sister. The first female speaker of the Nigerian parliament, you know how long she served? Only 4 months, from June 2007 to October. That's only 4 months. And she was a historic speaker. Because of the pressure that was put on her, she said the honorable thing to do is to step aside. Why can't Fonati?
So are you suggesting this is the only way out? The person must resign because others say, well, we don't want you?
No, what I'm saying is the country cannot move forward without the House of Representatives. They can't do any business. He's in the minority block. He does not have quorum to have any sitting. So he can't do anything. So if that continues for 2 months, 3 months, are we saying we prefer the country to just be at a stalemate because of one person? So the honorable thing he can do is to just step aside and say, you know what? I love my country. I don't want to bring this shame. I don't want to bring this.
That's a reasonable argument. I
still didn't get Jimmy's response. Jimmy, should Fonati go or stay?
He will go. He says
no.
Does he have an option? Does he have an option? Let me answer the question. First of all, just what Cole was indicating, they were elect. He was chosen to be the first among equals. Now they have decided, for whatever reason they give, they don't want him to be, and they will not sit on his gavel. He has nothing to do but go. If they don't want him, even if he doesn't do, they allude that there was some malfeasance in his administration of duties. But when we go down to it, there's something more sinister about their movement, and that is they want lucrative positions, what they can get out of it.
And
we'll
get to the things they mentioned against him. We got to evaluate those things, whether those things are valid. All right, but Carl, I'll bring you in here. You wanted to?
No, but Anthony, let's get this straight. Article 49 did not give any reason. They don't need any reason to remove the speaker. I read it over.
They need to come up with a resolution, right?
It says that they need cause. But it doesn't say
just be empty. There got to be some count in it.
It can be removed for cause.
Yes.
Yeah, and the cause isn't specified. That's what I was saying. The cause can be whatever they decide they agree on.
So the Constitution itself is vague. It's vague on that aspect of the cause.
Guys, don't muscle don't muscle Carl here. Carl was given the opportunity. Go ahead, Carl.
So cause is whatever they decide it is. And I just want to keep reminding everyone, and even if Fonati is removed from being speaker, he's not removed from the House of Representatives. He's still representing people that he represents disproportionately, but that's what we're rolling with in the country. And so I don't really see what the big deal is. I think that he should remain speaker until they have the numbers to remove him. It's very simple. It's not a bad precedent. It's a constitutional process.
What is the merit in that they must get the 49 as required by law, for him to be removed? To do it that way, what is it preventing? Is there any harm in that if it is not done that way, for which you think that should be the way to go?
But
I just think that if Fonati is standing his ground because he believes that maybe he's going to be replaced by people who are not as competent as he is, then let him stand his ground. If the majority say they don't care, whatever the case, he has to go, he has to go. He's still going to be in the House of Representatives. They're not impeaching him. They're not reversing the votes of his constituents. The constituents didn't make him speaker. His colleagues did. And so I don't really see why this is such a big deal. The reason I think, here's my theory about why Fonati is being attacked. We've had a number of presidents who've come from being Speaker of the House of Representatives to ascend to the presidency in Liberia. And this is a very powerful position to be the first among equals in the House of Representatives in the first branch of government. It is a very good springboard or stepping stone to the presidency. If someone would have ambition to want to be president of Liberia, the Speaker of the House is well positioned to do so. So there may be some people who do not want to see a President Fonati Koffa. And so they're going to try to disturb and make sure that, this is a man that's getting very popular. He's reaching across the aisle. He's interacting with people from different parties. He is cooperating with the president. He's being invited places. He's traveling. You've got the largest organization of Liberians in the diaspora. They invited Councillor Koffa. They didn't invite our Senate pro tem. They didn't invite the former president Weah. They invited Councillor Koffa. I mean, there's so many things that Councillor Koffa.
President Walker.
I'm sorry?
I said they didn't invite President Walker either.
No, we invited President Walker. I was
that's not. Yeah, I was gonna say they have invited President Boycott. I'm not comparing Koffa to the sitting president. There's no chance in hell that he's gonna run against the sitting president, right? So that's not the discussion. Who else wants to be president? This is the question, and that is who Fonati is a threat to. He's not a threat to Boycott today. He's a threat to whoever wants to be president in 2029. This man, I want to say one last thing. On Unification Day, Boycott was out of the country. The vice president made a speech. The Speaker of the House also wrote about unification. There was no comparison. Councillor Koffa correctly cited history. He understood the context. It was a brilliant and masterful written. It wasn't an oration. I didn't hear him speak it. Maybe he spoke, but I only read what he wrote, what he had released on that day, and it was profound. People are watching. People are listening. This is not your typical, grumble man, Speaker of the House. This is an intellectual. This is a thinker. This is a legal luminary. He is a threat. So all of the things that they're complaining about, all of them do it. Let's not be children here. We understand what they do in that house. So all of the accusations against Fonati are things that they themselves are guilty of.
Mm-hmm.
So coming out and playing snitch and try to do all this stuff, I'll report you for doing all of their hands inside a cookie jar.
Thank you.
The issue here is
fair point there, but that would not stop us to look at the allegations against Fonati Koffa.
He made counter allegations against his colleagues as well. That's what I'm saying. It's everybody throwing mud on everybody. What the citizens should be trying to do is find out how they can get rid of these guys and not bring them back and try to reform the house. That's a different issue. But
yes.
That's what we should be.
I really want us to look at the things they said against Fonati, because we got to look at the merits. Cole, you said a brilliant point that they all, I will assume here, that they are all guilty of all the things they are accusing Fonati. If any of them were in that position, they would do the same thing. All right. They are saying Fonati is conflicted. All right. Is that a reasonable issue for him to ask him to be removed? They also say Fonati is dishonest in parliamentary dealings, that he's selective in appointing committees. For one example is sending somebody to ECOWAS to be a Liberian representative. They say he was selective. There was no election whatsoever. He made a unilateral decision. They also accuse him of, the mismanagement of the budget, that he somehow were in some kind of dealing with the executive branch of government. They spend $15 million off the budget, and there was no accountability whatsoever. Are these things genuine reason why they want the speaker to be removed? Let's start with you, Jimmy.
Those reasons, yes, they do apply. I mean, it is something what we call malfeasance and corruption, and a conflict of interest. But is that the underlying reason? I think that's what we're trying to get to. These things have been going on for a while. And so if we're going to properly analyze whether this guy should go or not, what is the real motivation of their coming up with this uproar? And the motivation could be because he's building political clout. But I think a lot of it is belly driven. People want more money, even though they are very well compensated. And at the end of the day, none of them are doing the people's work. So we should use this opportunity now to address this and address the breach of public trust. That's what I'm looking at here. That is more blaring than anything else here. No matter who we change, because if we change this, the same thing will go on. But when we address the corruption and the misdoings in there, we will better solve Liberia's problem. I'm looking at solving Liberia's problem, not just solving who should be speaker here, but how can we get a good, functional, honest legislature? That is more a better goal than anything else.
Right.
So based on that, let me ask this question, Anthony, before you. Who or what is behind this ouster or removal of Fonati? Jimmy, you started already, right?
Can you repeat the
who
question?
Who is behind me? Who
or what is behind the removal effort?
Okay, from the jump, there's a lot of hands, I think, involved. From the jump, the UP party did not want Fonati to ascend to this position. There were accusations of bribing and whatnot during the selection of who would be the speaker. So the UP party had their personal interests. Then
you already had their candidate.
Yeah. And they tried to influence. I heard that there was an executive or meeting call between them, all the UP members of the legislature, and they wanted to go against Koffa, but he managed to withstand all that and became.
And Jimmy, to your point, there was report that money came from President Bouaka.
Report from where?
Well, a representative came forth and said he
What's the name of the representative? We got it. Come on, you guys are journalists. That's quite a huge accusing the president of bribery. You need to say who said it, when they said it, and what they said.
And that's what I'm saying.
You said there was an accusation. You're being vague. I want to know who said it.
The representative came forth that he had received money. Another person who said that was Koffa. That the president has given money.
He got money from Bouaka.
Let me say that in support of the United Party's candidate for speaker at the time, I think Wonkong. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Wait.
Yeah. So here we have that the UP had a vested interest. If you talk about motives, okay. We also know that he the way he's been addressing the party, even though he's a seditious. But the other day he went over to the party headquarters when there was invasion or there was a breach of the party headquarters compound by the police. And the way he dealt with his seditions, they didn't like it. So he's losing. It looks like he's losing some ground with seditions, with native seditions as well. Okay, and then the third element are those who are ambitious, who want that position. You know, there are a couple of millions of dollars have been allocated in the budget for the speaker. A lot of people want to get their hands on that, and they want to remove those people who are on the committees so they can get their hands on that money. So a lot of it's motivated financially, it's motivated for political expediency, and then your grassrooters are not so positive that you're in their best interest right now.
And Carl, the question I have for you: what could Fonati have done to avoid this? Was there anything he could do
to avoid what? Being impeached? Being removed.
Being removed.
He hasn't been removed yet, so clearly he's avoiding it so far. I mean, the thing is, CDC has more than twice the number of people in the House of Representatives than Unity Party does. Unity Party never had the numbers to elect a speaker. So the alliance between Liberty Party, the concession was that Liberty Party was going to have the Senate. But there was never, that's why I was questioning your statement about Unity Party wanting the speakership. They wanted it, but it wasn't really possible. The numbers aren't there. There's only 11 people in the House of Representatives that ran on UP ticket. Only 11. So it wasn't realistic. So CDC definitely, even if Fonati is removed, will still retain the leadership in the House. because they're in the majority. Even those who are independent are technically part of the coalition.
Not necessarily so, Cole. You remember very well when
that's my prediction as a public policy analyst, a person who studied this stuff.
If you look at it's different.
If they even
in Liberia, they don't do it on party line. You know, Snow, right? When CDC won majority of the representative seats in 2005, Snow was not a citizen when he became speaker.
No, the Snow situation is not analogous to what's happening right now. There was a lot of things that were involved, and there's a reason Snow resigned. Those factors are not at play here. Those factors are not at play here. So we're not just out of war. They're normal days now. We've had normalized. So the very reason that CDC is leading the House is the reason they will likely continue to lead if Fonati is not there. And you can just, the people, those who are supporting him, it's his partisans overwhelmingly. So here's what I'm trying to say. I don't see what Fonati could have really done differently, except maybe not be shining as much. I think they're attacking him not for corruption, not for being a dictator, but for shining too much. Buffalo Chambers sat in that position. And he basically humbled himself and stayed in the shadows and did everything that he could to not stand out and not present himself as some threat to people who wanted to seek power.
Thank you.
Look.
So, I mean, if you're asking us who we think is behind it, is that what the question was?
That was Dennis' question, and I think you answered that question earlier before you could even ask it, Carl. You did. You said I want to be president, and I don't know if you want to put names to that.
I say who or what is behind this. So Jimmy answered, or you can go ahead, then Boakai, and then Salif.
I'll let Boakai and Salif go. I think I've said enough.
Look, I think the best way this whole saga can be characterized is an internal power struggle in the CDC at the highest level.
Exactly.
And I mean, it cannot be described any more than that. And now the other entanglement that we see them talking about, or all the other reasons they're trying to cite to us, I think those reasons are secondary to the power struggle that is existing right now. And we even heard in some quarters that George Weah might be behind it, even though we don't have any certainty of that. But allegedly, it's been said that he might be behind it. And we also heard in some quarters that Vice President also had a hand in it. So in the end, like Sister Cole just said rightly, in the end,
that there is power struggle in CDC right now.
Absolutely, there is. Well, there are a few factions, and even though some of them might be positioning themselves for the 2029 election, except that for someone like Fonati Koffa, who doesn't have a solid political base, so I wouldn't even see this maneuver to be anything that would be helpful, since he doesn't have the political base anyways. So
well, if anything, Fonati should be a threat to Weah.
Exactly, yes.
Because I don't think he stands a chance before Weah, so how would he be a threat to Weah in the first place?
Well, and I think this is why sometimes it lends some credence to the allegation, because in politics, perception is reality. And so for that reason, I don't know. I mean, but this is just something I think is more speculation than reality. I don't know. But people are saying that George Weah sees Fonati as a competition to come, someone that might compete with him in they
are from the same county. So how will he do it?
What do you mean? How does he do it? I mean, this is politics, Anthony. It does not matter if they're from the same
primary with President Weah in CDC and have a chance.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not? I'm saying, why
In
not?
fact,
Of
Let's
course.
talk about the
in
money.
fact,
So if that theory is, if anything, if any truth to that, could the money being talked about also might have come from where?
Well, I mean, I haven't heard that, but I wouldn't dismiss it. I wouldn't dismiss it. I wouldn't dismiss it outright because the way things have
I'm sorry to
unfolded.
interrupt. Didn't they say Thomas Fala gave the money? Wasn't there reports that Thomas Fala was the one who gave the money on the day this whole thing broke? Mr. Douglas?
They accused multiple
Yes,
people, so
yes,
we don't know.
yes. Yeah, I mean, initially when the allegations surfaced,
Mhm.
Thomas Fowler was the person that was accused of giving out the money, and some people also said some of the money came from the vice president.
That's right.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
so
And
Gotcha.
others
I
said that
think there is
some of the money came
a
from the
bit of
president.
some element of truth. So some of these
So there were people,
allegations.
I'm just trying to understand, there were people accusing, because I heard them accusing Thomas Fala. In fact, they were trying to even rustle him up, and in the video that I watched.
Yes, initially when the whole thing broke out, Thomas Fowler was the main person that was behind. I mean, according to what they said, you know, and then even in that video that was first surfaced.
There are 10 CDC representatives who are signed up, including my own representative for District Number 2, Sando County Sedition, who signed the petition to remove Koffa.
I think about 10 or 11 citizens signed the
Right.
resolution.
So I want to hear your Mr. Salif, Pastor Salif, who or what is behind this?
You know, honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed because in the court of public opinion, the ordinary man on the street, they should be the one trading in all these assumptions and hypotheticals. I don't think we on this platform should do that because they look up to us for information that they can cite and say, listen, I heard it on Focus. Like says Pamela said, we are journalists. We can't be here thinking, oh, maybe I heard this person or that other person. That's what should happen on the streets of Liberia, and then they should come to us to get information. So it's not important who's behind it, who's not behind it. It's not important. That's number one. Number two, it's not important whether the House, the majority black, whether whatever accusations they
Even
come
if
up
God
with.
is behind it, that is not important.
No, it's not important. Who behind it right now, for me, it's not important. And it's not important whatever they put in their resolution, because the Constitution, let's go back to the Constitution. The Constitution did not give any reason for the removal of the Speaker or his deputy. It only says they need simple majority. So whatever resolution they come up with, anything they write in it is in their own prerogative, is up to them. It doesn't matter. They can just say, hey, I think Dennis Jaffe shining too much. I think I don't like the suit he's wearing. We're moving him. They don't need any reason. And then another thing I want to bring up is
very simplistic with the Constitution. The Constitution 49 calls for a resolution. In a resolution, there has to be a cause.
You want me to read it for you right now?
No, you don't have to. I just read it to you.
You paraphrase it. You didn't read it. You paraphrase it. You didn't read it.
No, but you have to read it to paraphrase it.
I got it in front of me right
Mr.
now.
Salif, here's my question to you.
Yes.
You're saying who or what is behind is not important. We are hearing that money changed hands, there were bribery. And you say,
definitely. Money changed hands. I know that.
Right, but you say that's not important.
The question was who and what?
Yes,
who and what? You are saying the money is not even important. My
argument is where we are right now is whether the speaker resigned or whether he's removed, impeached. That's a bone of contention here. How did he become speaker? Money also changed. And are you telling me people just out of their conscience voted for Fonati as speaker of the House? No. Money also changed. And that's what happens in the House of Representatives around the world. Like Anthony said from the beginning, why should they come up with these concessions? That is how legislature work all around the world. Right here in America.
No.
Hold on. Don't interrupt. Right here in America, before Kevin McCarthy became Speaker of the House, he had to come up. They had to come up with concession, and that's when the Republican foolishly, one of the concession was that one person can choose to vacate the Speaker. That was one of the concessions that Kevin McCarthy. agreed
The
to.
money changed hands.
Okay, so he agreed with that, and Mark Gates used it against him. And Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to use it against Mark Johnson. So in the legislature, it's always a concession. We can vote for you if you give us this. We can do this
We're
if you
talking
give us
about
this.
money.
That's
We're
what
talking
happened.
about money.
Definitely money changed hands because there were videos, there are people that display the money. I'm not arguing all that facts. All that I'm saying right now, all those facts, money changed hands, who gave the money is not important. What's important to me right now, the country is at a stalemate because the House of Representatives cannot function. The majority black cannot function because they don't have the two-thirds. The minority black cannot function because there is no quorum. So we are in a stalemate. They can't do business. They can't do the business of the people. It's the Liberian people that are being dragged behind and be held back. Fonati Koffa, if he is an honorable man, the honorable thing to do is to resign. This is the man who put only $4,000 in the budget for MVTC. This is the man that is allocating millions to themselves, and the universities they don't have the kind of money. President Bwaka is launching PhD program at LU that does not even have a fitting class. Where will he take the money from to pay PhD staff to come and teach PhD courses? So these people are not serious. They are unserious. So the most honorable.
My only disagreement with you is that you are telling me where I work, I know that money is behind the reason I go to work. Let me tell you.
I agree.
And you say money is not important. I disagree.
No. I did not say it's not important. I said yes, it's important. Money change him. But for this discussion, whether Fonati resign or he get impeached, I said that money aspect is not important. When he's resigned or he's impeached or he retained his seat, they should launch investigation into where the money came from that created the saga. But for
you,
now,
it's not important. Will be a fair statement other than to say it's not important. I'll leave it.
Another thing is, anyway, go ahead, Mr.
I was going to say, Brother Steve, we are not journalists. We are called upon here to opine upon the events of the day in our country. So all we are doing here, we are analyzing the situation based on how we understand it. And part of that understanding could come from people that are in Liberia or through, whatever means that there is. So we are not journalists. If anything, Brother Ja and Anthony are the journalists who ask the questions, and we opine on those questions by sharing our views. But, this notion that money change hand and the comparison you've made in the last two program that I've been on, I think those comparisons are misplaced, Brother Salif. And I don't mean this in any disrespectful way.
No, I got you.
And the lobby and what happened that happens here is private money coming into the government, where some interest group somewhere or some interest individuals out there try to influence lawmakers. For us, this is the money that we have.
The lobbyists do not take money to the lawmakers. The
lobbyists. I get the point I'm making. The point I'm making here is
the lawmakers.
Yeah, the point I'm making here then is the money that changed hands in our situation is money that we have borrowed in the name of the Liberian people, and it's the same money we use to bribe officials within the government. But the lobbying here the money comes from outside the government. It's not a government money. So they might look alike, but they are very different in that in Liberia it's the government money that changed hands, where whoever wants to be speaker try to give out brown envelope as they call them. So it's something that we should be concerned about. But because we in our country we have come to normalize mediocre as the way of doing things, and people have come to actually accept it. Otherwise, I mean, why should we even be where we are today? But it speaks to where our politics have gotten us.
Thank you.
And Mr. Salif, 3 or 4 times you talk about stalemate. If the House of Representatives is closed down today, what are we going to miss?
Oh, we miss a lot because the House of Senate, there are things that they do, and there are things the House of Representatives do. So they're not doing their job. Okay, so they all don't do the same thing. Like the House of Senate.
This stalemate that you talk about, Costa is going to be good for the country because they don't do anything anyway. So if we even close down both houses, what are we going to lose?
Maybe the
Some,
executive can keep some money to
Well,
run the
some,
country.
it's supposed to be doing something, but Dennis, they're supposed
somebody
to be doing
even wrote that in the chat that listen, the Senate and representative, they are liability to Liberia. We don't even
I mean,
need
see
it.
how much money
And
they take.
I agree with them. They're just wasting the money. You know,
So,
but
But
so
you're
I want us to
something.
move to another segment here, Jermaine. I want us to move to another segment here. So, what happens when Fonati is removed? Will they be able to get a better speaker? And the whole bribery thing here, this is crime. I'm not missing my words here. Bribery is a crime under our laws. And the lawmakers are not denying receiving bribe before they could act through the resolution. The question I want us to debate now is there a chance that they will get a better speaker? And how would things be after that? And would there be an investigation for the bribery allegation? Jimmy, you go first.
Okay, when you say a better speaker, what are you referring to? Exactly, what is a better?
Jimmy, I'm a crew man. I wish I could speak crew to break it down for you. Better means somebody who will be better than Fonati. Can they find a better speaker than Fonati? Because they are saying this guy is bad for us.
All they're going to find is someone who's willing to play the ball game the way they want it played. This is what has been going on. Fonati started playing the game in a different way, and they was outraged. They didn't like who he was appointing. The representatives voluntarily said, "We're not getting nothing. You're getting paid. You're not getting nothing. What are you talking about?" It is open season for corruption in that place, and nobody is addressing where this money come from. They know where the money come from, but why are we not hearing it? It's all being swept under the rug. So this is just another way of taking advantage of the people's trust, and we not speaking out about it. This thing should go down. We should see some people brought down for bribery, and if we don't have a legislature. We just have people doing whatever they want.
So Jimmy, you are suggesting that if Fonati is out of, Jimmy, you are suggesting that if Fonati is out of the way, whoever they will get will be what? Somebody who will do their bidding?
That's it.
So what's about the investigation? Would there be an investigation concerning the bribery?
Well, this is my concern. Why isn't we should have an ongoing investigation right now of where these monies came from, who was involved, how did they change hands? Somebody even turned it over to the LACC. I understand.
Yep. So there is an investigation going on, Jermaine. Okay. The information is that the LACC, in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice, are looking into it. They're looking into
right.
it.
So we need to remove some of these elements out of that honorable house, so that the people's business will be taken care of. As long as they're there, the people's business will not be run the way it should.
So, Jimmy, the last part to that question is, the first one, Anthony said, what happened if he removed? What happened if he stays?
I can tell you what is likely going to happen. Just like Carl alluded to, there are more seditions in there than anybody else. Who's the other most popular sedition right there? It's what's his name? He is the most likely. He's the most likely successor. Okay, it's evident. Who else will they put up there? Of course, you people will try to get their person there, but they don't have the numbers to defeat the seditions. So the seditions will get together and make sure Fala is the next speaker.
And if Koffa stays?
Koffa, for Koffa to stay, he will have to convince those who are against him to get to join his group, his block, so that they can have a quorum. Once they have a quorum, then they can cite these guys to report to work. Until that, he's going to be going.
Right.
So, Carl, the
same question.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
The question is, if Fonati is out of the way, do they get a better speaker, worthy of a speaker for the Honorable House of Representatives? And would there be an investigation concerning the crime of bribery? And would there be anything done with anybody who will be found guilty if we should get that?
I don't see, as far as just looking at competence without looking at character, because, as everyone has stated, there are people operating the standard for conduct and ethics is so low that they're openly admitting to committing crimes and they don't even realize that it's wrong, and they know that the citizens don't. More importantly, the citizens don't realize it's what they're talking about is criminal, because they just blatantly are saying things that they should be, impeached and indicted for. But instead, the citizens are just like, I saw DJ Blue, whatever his legal name is. He made a post saying, Benson, or I can't remember Blue's real name.
I remember. Go ahead.
Okay, so he comes up with this brilliant idea that the money that people took in bribes should be used to pay for scholarships in the district. And that, and people, Liberian citizens, voters were under that post applauding, saying this is a brilliant idea. This is how low our country has sunk when it comes to ethics and understanding right and wrong in the public sphere, in the private sphere. We have a serious problem with ethics in Liberia, a serious problem. So that aside, because we have to put ethics aside, because clearly people don't understand what they should be doing and what is correct conduct for public officials. I don't really think that there's very many people that are more competent than Fonati in that house. Thomas Falat certainly is nowhere near Fonati as far as education and understanding of the world, how he carries himself, his understanding of laws. We have very few people in that house that even understand what laws are, what their jobs and responsibilities are. You've got people in that House of Representatives that are usurping the function of the executive branch of government unconstitutionally, and they think it's normal. There are very, very few people in that house that know those things are wrong. Fonati's one of them. One thing I would tell you Fonati's not doing, all these other accusations I'm not witness to. One thing Fonati is not doing is going to Grand Cru and lying to the people about what his roles and responsibilities are and playing, governor of Grand Cru like the other elected officials do. And that is important, because part of the problem is that the leaders in the legislature are misleading the constituents about what their duties are when they're running for office. Once they're elected, they function completely outside of the guidelines of the Constitution. I don't see Fonati doing that publicly. Whatever he's doing inside those Bush quarters, I can't speak to it. But how he conducts himself publicly is stellar in comparison to his recent predecessors. Buffalo Chambers, Mr. Chambers, very educated as well, carried himself well, but I would say Fonati is doing a phenomenal job. I don't think Thomas Bilal holds a candle to him. I don't think that I can think of too many people that are in that house that the citizens have empowered that would be able to represent our country as well as Councilor Koffa has been doing. And I'm just being honest. And again, I'm putting all the corruption allegations aside and strictly speaking on public persona and how he's been conducting himself in the open.
Thank you.
Yeah, but one last thing, I forgot to say. So,
yes,
we've got people. You know what? Let me leave that alone. Go ahead.
No,
I'm not going to say it.
I want to hear that. Go ahead.
I've said enough, Badger. Go ahead. I've said enough. I'm not going to say this word. But they can unplug your show. Start looking for me. Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Ducle. So now they want Fonati removed. If Fonati is out of the way, can we get a competent speaker who will be able to lead the House of Representatives and also the entire legislature?
I'm not sure I'm entirely confident in anyone in the House who you can point to and say this guy is going to be a competent replacement. But even before we get there, now they are being referred to as the majority bloc. And they've become so emboldened that Ivar Jones, I think he's called, IVAR Jones, Ivar Jones, and I think he's the representative from Magibi County, because he was talking about a citation where they wanted Thomas Fowler to appear in a meeting, and he's been given an ultimatum. If he doesn't show up, they're going to consider his position vacant. I mean, this is how emboldened it's become. And if anything, this can just tell you where these people are headed. Trust me, in the history of the legislature in Liberia since the cessation of hostility, qualification-wise, probably Fonati Koffa is the best who has served in that position in terms of being a respected jurist, who is very familiar with the law and who had practiced law extensively in the United States before coming to Liberia and becoming. But with that aside, the environment in our legislature is such that
that aside, can you speak to his character? I agree with the education. I agree with the education part, and I also agree with his understanding of how the House works. But the character, does he have the character to be a lawmaker before he be a speaker?
I would say yes. I mean, he has the character to I mean, this is something that his constituent decided to, they voted for him, to send him there. So if anything about character, that should be the judgment made by his constituent. And so if they voted for him, I mean, who am I to say he doesn't have the character?
Send him, hold on, Yaka Korwa constituent sent him twice. Does he have the character?
No, but let me come in quickly, Mr. Duke. It is the electorate, it is the voters that decide who they want. We have, even over here now, we have somebody who's a convict on several counts.
That's right.
So yes. it's not us to say that he has the moral fortitude or the a clean record. This is who the people want.
That's right.
On him, who are we to stand in the way?
So if the people want a convict, let us take that convict, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, but the point I was trying to drive out is that despite all of that, the legislature, our legislature, is a place where they can turn the well-intentioned individual into a corrupt person. That environment at our legislature is a place where honorable people can turn to be dishonorable. It's a place where they have come to make the place a money-making center, where if you want to get rich quickly, try to run to be a representative or try to run to be a senator. So the issue of character really, in a place like ours, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, if people voted for you, so even if he's not speaker, he's still going to be representing his constituent. So for me personally, I mean, I wouldn't want to say
I need to go down there and come out clean, or maybe you need to go down there and come out clean, because
but how many people do you know who has ever gone there and come out clean?
Let's go to
it's just not possible. It's just not possible. This is where we are. And this is almost in every sector of our society where malfeasance, bribery. Now people have even come to accept bribery to be normal. They don't see it as a crime. They don't see it as that's how things are done.
Thank you.
That's the environment we are in.
Thank you. The next question here is, who will save Fonati? Can Fonati save himself? If he can't save himself,
Pastor Salif wants to attempt that question too.
Okay.
Before we move on.
All right. Go ahead.
Pastor Salif. Post what happened, if Fonati is removed, will we get somebody better than Fonati? Or if Fonati stays,
somebody competent? The character thing is out of the way, so we're just talking about competence now.
Well, listen, I will
When
answer
we
it
talk
this way.
about character, we'll go burn that whole building down. So let's
Let's check out the character.
This is how I want to answer that question.
Mhm.
During the time of Edwin Snow in the House, and the most incompetent speaker Liberia ever had, of the speaker of the representative, that was Edwin Snow. Edwin Snow was the most incompetent. Edwin Snow did not even properly finish high school. He was a bag boy for Charles Taylor, carried Charles Taylor bag. The next thing, he married Taylor's daughter. Taylor sent him to LFA. He got money, came back, ran, and bought his speakership. He was the least qualified. If Fonati is not there, and then they came up with this problem. While he was in the House, he said he went to LU, he got degree there. Himself and his friends, they came up. I was in Liberia at the time under early administration, and they were all on radio. If you don't have a degree, you should not run for representative. You should not be in the House. It was an argument that time. And we had to go back to the Constitution, that the framework of the Constitution, they did not attach academic qualification to running for representative or senate. They wanted the people to have representation. So the education is not measured, that we don't want to stifle our democracy by putting education and putting degrees. Then you are going to exclude other people. And that argument has been, won already. With that trade past
you can exclude dog Cooper, though.
Yeah, you cannot exclude people. So when it comes to qualification, anybody, the qualification to be a speaker, the qualification to be Speaker of the House and the Liberian representative, number one, you have to be elected as a representative by your people. When you get there, your colleagues have to see fit in you to elect you to the speakership. Now, Fonati Koffa, two things I want to say. If you decide to feed the beast, you got to keep feeding the beast, because the day the beast is hungry, it's going to eat you up. And that's what happened. He fed the beast to get elected as a speaker. Now the beast got hungry and the beast is eating him up.
Exactly.
You got to keep feeding the beast so that you remain there. So hypothetically, post Fonati Koffa, anybody who is an elected representative is automatically qualified to be speaker. Whether you can speak English, you can speak English. For the fact your constituent sent you in the House, it is your right. If you can win the votes of your colleagues, you can be speaker. Now, Fonati is educated, but Fonati is not. He's not politically savvy as he should be, because that position is typically political, and you have to be able to play your game on both sides of the eyes. You have to satisfy the majority black, the minority black. You got to do these things. If you don't know how to do it, those are the same people that will kick you out. So whoever has been elected and is currently serving, you qualify to be speaker. Where would they get it from? You are not speaker. You are not representative. I'm not representative. And I don't know about the Liberian Constitution. I know about the U.S. Constitution. You don't have to even be serving in the House to be elected speaker. So in America, they can elect even Dennis Jad to be speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. I don't know if that's the same thing in Liberia. So where would they find these qualified people? All the people there are the same. They all take bribes. They all do the same thing. So a post Fonati, any of the same corrupt people can be speaker. It doesn't matter.
That's true. They all can finger the budget.
Let's take a step back.
They're all the same.
Let's take a step back and look at the implication that is going to have going forward, wherever this falls, right? Do you think this thing going to happen in the Senate as well, where people gather together and then put signatures and say we want our pro temp removed? How you think this is going? Days down the road, is it going to impact the Senate to impact 2029? Just look at that a little bit.
I don't like to speak from the place of fear factor, and I think that's where that question is coming from, because you and Anthony keep asking the same question over and over. Oh, this will not be a precedent. This will not. No, it has happened to Snow. It happened to Tyler. It did not happen in the Senate. So just because it's happening now doesn't mean it will also happen in the Senate. Besides that, we've seen this thing happen before, like Douglas said. So the precedent has already been set. We shouldn't be afraid that if we allow this pressure on Koffa and his remove, that means every other person will do the same. It's not true. If you go to that position and you know how to play your cards well, you will be there. Like our sister mentioned, Buffer Chima. He knew how to play his cards, so he played it well, and he spent his time there. Other speakers in other countries, it's the same thing. Once you don't know how to play that card to satisfy all the different blacks and all the different parties, my brother, like the lady in Nigeria, you only spend 4 months in the position and you'll be out.
But let me add something to that. There's another dynamic that we're not looking. You see, Buffer Chima's had the luxury of having a sedition president, and he was also a sedition. This is different with Fonati Koffa, because the president is from the UP party, and he's from CDC, and so he doesn't have that coverage that Buffer Chima's had. So that is why he's in turmoil now. You see, when you have the executive on your side,
Fonati is body with President Bouaka.
No, Fonati is closer to President Bouaka. And what about Edward Snow?
That's not the point, right?
Edward Snow was closer to Ellen. And
unlike Buffer Chima, who was a hardcore citizen,
Snow was no closer to Ellen until he was removed.
Snow was not close to Ellen. He got close to Ellen years after his resignation.
After his removal, almost like he joined Unity Party.
He wasn't removed. Snow resigned. Snow was not removed. Snow resigned.
So for Fonati case is there because Fonati had been Liberty Party, Unity Party, CDC, right?
Fonati's never been a unity partisan. Fonati's never been a unity partisan. Fonati went straight from the Liberty. Fonati went straight from the Liberty Party to CDC. When Liberty Party split, some Liberty partisans remained with Liberty Party and supported Unity Party, and others joined the coalition. Musa Bility, Abu Kamara, Councillor Koffa, all of them went with CDC.
Yeah, but what I was alluding to, that the fact that, imagine when he was initially running to become speaker, he was opposed by the UP party. We just covered that. There were where there was accusations of money changing hands. So he doesn't enjoy the full backing of the executive. So that is why he's in peril right now, because what he had to do to stay aboard, he had to maintain his sedition support. That's what really got him there. And when you start wavering in any way and making seditions stop trusting you as much, that's when you bring all this on. So there have been accusations of even a sedition upheaval, like there were people behind them. Some of the money was coming in from seditions. That shows that he didn't enjoy the full backing of his party, and that's why he
behaved like a statesman in position. That was the issue. Fonati is trying.
Sorry, the House of Representatives is a place for partisan politics. Period. I can argue with anybody on the planet here or even somewhere else. It's a place of partisan politics. And Fonati decided to place statement without walking the fine line of maintaining solidarity with his party to the point that he's not politically savvy of a partisan sign a resolution. There, so that's the point I wanted to make.
He's not politically savvy. He's educated, he's sound, but he's not politically savvy. He doesn't know how the game is played. That's just the fact.
I would say he's politically savvy. He's just not street smart. And a lot of these guys are not politically savvy at all. They're very street. They've got a street code in them. We're talking about people who were selling drugs in the community that have been elevated. We're talking about people who were doing all kinds of shady things that should probably be in prison. And we know exactly who they are. We've got a lot of people who have been elevated to those positions who were being watched by LNP and CID for their conduct in the ghettos of our capital and other things, smuggling things, right? So these guys have a street code. They have a street code about themselves, and Fonati isn't from the streets. I wouldn't even call this politics. Really, what they're doing has nothing to do. This is like a house of gangsters. It's like you got to be, it's like what they're doing is like a gang war more than anything. That's not, politics is about ideology. Politics is about ideology. It's about your views on how the country should move forward. It's not a fight over whose turf and whose money and all that kind of. I want that gang talk, that street thing that on there. So not politics.
Final question before we bring in the callers. Hold on,
just
Pastor Sally.
just
Final
quick,
question.
Mr.
Final question before we bring you. When you have your time, you do so. We getting close to that 1 hour 30 minutes now before we bring in the callers. It is obvious now that Fonati has not gotten to the place where he can save himself. He calls for 2 different sections. He could not produce the vote to get a quorum. If he will be saved, he must be saved by somebody. Politically speaking, it must be a president, maybe someone else. Who you think can save Fonati at this point in time? And how would that person do it to save him? Or what can save Fonati at this point in time?
Let me give you some options. President Boakai, former President Weah, Deputy Speaker of the CDC, the Unity Party, etc. Go ahead.
So, Dennis, you are smart. I didn't know you were this savvy politically. Yeah, those people can save him. But for you, the debaters now, how can each of those people Dennis named can save Fonati Koffa if they have to come to his rescue now?
How do you not know that if everybody else knows?
President Weah can definitely exercise some influence right now. Because
how?
Because
I think he's already doing that. I think he's already doing that.
And you mean give me the how?
I'm about to say so. So if you know, a lot of the peoples that against anti Koffa right now are seditionists. So all he has to do is cite a conversation or cite a meeting with all the representatives, sedition representatives, and explain to them why it is necessary to keep Fonati as speaker. And all the grievances they have, they talk about it right there, answer it right there, and whatever resolutions they come up with, they handle it in-house, in sedition house. Then they go back to the House of Legislature and vote and go back to work as usual. And they will no longer have that absences. They will have a quorum, and Speaker Koffa will remain. But I don't see anybody else besides we are doing it right now.
Only President Weah, you see? What's about President Walker?
We have callers on the line now, so 1 minute each. Who or what can save Fonati's life as a speaker?
I think the only person that can save Fonati life now is the highest bidder. Okay, whoever paid those guys before can come up with 10 times more than that. The highest bidder, because now I was just watching another video where they were sitting talking, Fonati Koffa talking, and I think Thomas Father had his phone, the screen where we are talking to him while they were active in session. If we had that cloud to do it, he would do it. The only person now that can save Fonati is the highest bidder. It's the only person that can save
You think how much we're talking about here?
Oh, well, if they took 25,000, at least you need to double that.
All right. Call.
And they don't have to. So here's the thing: they don't have to pay everybody, right? They just need to pay a few people.
A few people, influential people.
Mm-hmm. Because that's not politics. That's gang activity. That's what we're talking about now. Now we're on some old Al Capone stuff. We're not talking about politicians. We're talking about gangsters when we use these terms. I just want to be clear for the young people that are watching. This isn't normal, and it's not okay.
It's the young people that are watching that are even celebrating all these corrupt people. They're in the street dancing for them.
Some of them are not. Some of our youth are disgusted with what they've inherited and what is being done. Some of our youth are very vocal. I mentor young people in Liberia. I see their responses. Some of our young people, it's not like these kids are online. They see what is happening in other countries and they look at their own country. They're not just relegated to what they're learning at UL. They're reading, they're interacting with friends in other countries, they're networking with people outside of Liberia. Their minds are opening up, and they realize how buffoonish and ridiculous things are in Liberia. They talk about it. So it's not just the people that you see having, press conference with CDC and shouting like they're warlords and we in the middle of the 90s or something. No, the young people, a lot of the young people are thinking people, and they're observing what's happening, and they've lost respect for the people that have been empowered in the country because of the way they behave. And also, yeah, the lack of education. The people who are in that house, if you listen to them speak, is so humiliating for Liberians to that we actually empowered people like that. It's humiliating. I listen to these guys talk, and I see they govern, everything is on Facebook, like they're private citizens. You know, you get ready, you go DJ one party, you cuss, you drink liquor, then you go post on Facebook about state matters.
You said DJ party, somebody was cussing Marcus right in the house just this week.
Yeah. All of it.
You know,
Mr. Ducle, somebody said the Supreme Court can save Fonati, but who or what can save
actually,
Fonati right now?
then that question, I think right where we are now, looking at how things are unfolding, I will disagree with the fact that not even Judge Weir can save Fonati right now, and because of the way we know things work, our body politics has never been about character, and character has never mattered. And we know
it has in the past. Just say in recent years, please, I beg you. I don't
yeah,
mean
but
to cut you off. But we have evidence that people have not been elected or have been removed because of character, have been impeached in Liberia. We have a history of people having integrity. What we see happening now is not normal. It is a deviation. Yeah.
Actually, my reference was since our new republic, since the
thank you for the clarification.
In Liberia, that's what I meant. Otherwise, there are ample examples where people with integrity did resign from their positions, and the government continued. But what I was trying to say is that in our new republic, character has never factored in our body politics, simply because we saw warlords who masqueraded as politicians, whatever they were. So because of the way, I think I will, as sarcastic as it might sound when Brother Salif spoke, I think in reality is the highest bidder who can save Fonati right now, not Judge Weir, not even the president. And if he's willing to put up whatever the money that this whole saga requires, yes, he can survive it. But I don't think he has such a money, and because of the way things have now blown up in their own faces, they will be extremely careful in doing that. So when I predicted a couple of weeks ago that Fonati is not going to survive this, I had factored in all of these elements, that the way he's now very damaged and compromised. And some of the reason they are saying, they've said so many things over the last several weeks, and one of which is he's closer to Joseph Boakai. And I don't think none of that even matter if he was only playing to their tunes. So if he comes up with the required amount of money that he needs to buy these guys over, those characterization will not matter. As long as they can line up their pockets, that will be what that matters to them. So right now, not even Judge Weir can save him. Trust me.
Jimmy, have you spoken about this? Just quickly, we have 2 minute callers.
Yes, I did say, I said Judge Weir can save him.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's bring in our callers now. I mean, we missed Keseli Double for a long time, so I'll make Keseli Double the first here. Keseli Double, where have you been?
I'm here.
But Dennis, I'm part of the debate. You didn't ask me what can save Fonati.
No.
I'm more interested in the history channel, so I always follow them.
All right.
When I'm up.
We'll come to you, Mr. C. So, Keseli, your point, 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Giant. Thanks to all the other panelists. But I mean, the point, I think Liberians, for me, I just feel that we are always good at making it this negative history. I don't know why. In the first place, I ask myself, should I have Fonati being elected in the first place? a criminal. But we found out, say, somebody would say, we elected him. And then they say you live by the sword and die by the sword. Before for this election, there was this rumor all over the corridor that he bribed people to elect him. And now the same Fonati now is coming, his group is coming out telling us that people have been bribed to remove him from the team. And not just that, Mr. Jah, this man then deputy speaker for all those years. For him to have come up at this time to tell us that he overspent his budget in a tune of over $7 million, not even $10, not $5, not $6, but $7 million, and he wasn't aware of any of those things. We are just jammed as Liberians. Then the question will be, who is going to replace Fonati? Now I see other group calling for Thomas Fowler. Or Thomas Fowler, another renowned criminal. So where do we go as a country? Because everyone you try to point here at, they have some kind of accusation that have to do with criminality. Thomas Fowler was in charge of the Ways and Means Committee. The very same Ways and Means Committee went for that in a hotel room, deciding like people fit over the budget. I think the best thing we can do at Liberia is to just carry on major protests and run all these guys out of that place and bring entire new faith who have never been in governmental era before. Completely new people.
Thank you.
Only way a better place. But other than that, we still have a long battle or a long hill to climb. Thank you very much, Mr. Jack.
Thank you. Let me bring on. We have so many callers. Let's be very brief. Elvis Morris.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jai, and hello to the panelists. You know the old saying, you can't buy love. Just how you shouldn't use your money to buy love from a woman. Don't use your money to try to buy political love. You're not giving people more money to sustain that love. They will turn against you. So I think Fonati, being a sophisticated man, he thought that by any means necessary, pay the money, get there. When you get there, you can govern well. You can govern the way you're supposed to actually govern. And those guys, they're not falling for that. They want their money. They already thought you were corrupt. The fact that you use cash to induce them to vote for you as speaker, they expected more of the same while you are serving as speaker. And I think somebody like Fonati Koffa, I think he has a Juris Doctorate in constitutional law, if I'm not mistaken. He should understand that coming from a country like Grand Crew, the entire Southeast as a whole, your representative making more money than the entire developmental, budget for those counties is outrageous. And somebody as smart as him, somebody who should be looking to make reforms, and should probably try to tell these people that they need more in terms of development funds for these different counties, doing real reforms instead of trying to go after the very same people who yourself engage in corrupt acts and try to make sure you audit them and you try to put them on blast for some motive that we can't tell the real meaning right now. Go after actual reform that's going to impact the Liberian people's lives. You want to expose these guys just to say, oh, look, everybody was doing bad when it was speaker, the entire house is corrupt. That's cool. It will gain you some political brownie point, but let impact the life of the Liberian people. Put bills on the floor. You're a lawyer, a very adept lawyer. Put bills on the floor that will actually impact the Liberian people's lives. So for me, I don't think it's something that the CDC is behind. Even though people saying it, but I disagree with that. I think President Weah wanted to save some Fonati Koffa and he saved him, but I don't think he can sustain being the speaker for much longer. Eventually, they'll get him out.
Thank you. And by the way, the 25,000 for each of the speaker, that 25,000 representative. That 25,000, if you multiply that, it can cover the county development fund for 12 counties. Next is Hassan Kone. Hassan, you're live.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. John, and thank you for taking my call. How you call it? I mean, this is what happens when we have a consequential election. And everybody, all the educated people decide they want to be neutral, right? That's what happens. I mean, we are the way we are because that's the vast majority of us. Like I said, 99.9% of Liberians are inherently corrupt. But I mean, as far as Fonati thing or what it is and stuff like that, two things can be true. I listen to the argument, right? the legislatures have the right to remove him. They don't have to be about anything, right? And he is said to have the right to fight if he decides he wants to stay as speaker and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's what we're going to leave it at. If he survives this, fine. If he don't, I don't think he's going to survive it. And so I think it's his karma for being a corrupt man from America here, and they didn't learn his lesson and went to Liberia, and still, the monkey didn't leave his black and behind, still decided to use his tricks and stuff like that to get him to sneak his way into power. So I think that's his karma coming for him.
Okay.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna just be what. So as far as how you call it, I would say, I mean, I agree with most of the points that Kowu made today on the show and stuff like that. So I'm just saying, like, next time we have elections and stuff, a well-learned woman like Kowu should pick a side. Pick somebody that she knows that going to do better for the country instead of remaining neutral and stuff and support like somebody like Mr. Cummins. Thank you.
Thank you. The time call with comments, Cole didn't support comments. James Colley, you're alive, buddy.
Why are they calling her Cole? She's
Thank
called.
you very much. I'm glad they invited me. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all the honorable panelists. Actually, I listened to all the arguments, and the conversation is sobering. I really would think, in my little opinion, I really would think that Fonati should just give it up. If he's educated enough to see through what's going on, he should just resign. I don't think it's in the best interest of the country. It's really laughable when people look at us and say Liberians, especially for us who claim to be educated, who are not really doing the educated things. And I want to throw a hand grenade in there, but I'm holding the grenade right in my hand and wondering whether I should release it. But I think
I think you should release the grenade. It might save us. Save the state.
Things around this, but this thing has a rudimentary, foundation. In Liberia, we've seen many times how we say people smart, and a lot of times in our school we circumvent critical thinking. Most of the time, when it comes to critical thinking, we go to voodoo man, juju man, just to not think critically and say the man back there saying he's smart. And so we have a lot of these people around. We have these credentials, but when it comes to providing substance, we fall short. I'm not saying Fonati is bad, but let's look deep down at ourselves and see who really we are. Do we really possess those qualities or have the education that we claim to have? Because this is very simple. I agree with Anthony, and I agree with Mr. Eastman, and almost all of you called Mr. Point and Mr. Selly. I mean, I don't know where Mr. Josh stands, but Mr. Ducliffe too was on the edge of saying that I think the guy should go. Let him go. Why are we keeping bad apples in the bag?
Yeah.
If he's bad enough, let him just go.
Thank
seems
you.
like we've gone. We don't have the educated people to really stand for us, but we claim we do, and this is shameful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Podmore, you are live.
Hello.
Yes.
I barely hear you.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, my cousin. Hope you are doing good. Look, I'm not a fan of Fonati Koffa. I think with his history, I don't think he should have gone to Liberia and become a major political player. I don't think it speaks well of us. But the fact that he is there and there is procedures to remove him, I think he should fight. For so long, we just give in. Every time a bunch of people get together and harass us and bully us, we have to say, for the peace of everything, let's just let them be. Come on now.
Michael, you are now a fan of Trump. You're telling us Francis should play Trump?
What do you mean?
Well, you are saying
No, he was elected.
Fonati should not give it up. He should be like Trump, who is a dishonorable man.
No,
instead
Trump
running
was
for
defeated. So I don't think that yeah.
Trump was defeated.
This man has been charged with telephone felony and he's running for president.
I can't hear Anthony so well.
Yeah, go ahead. You finish up.
So here's the thing: election have consequences. They elected Fonati, and they know how to remove him. And because they don't have the number, so then you take some leeway, gangster way, and say we will just hold the entire country hostage until Fonati has the remorse to remove himself, and then in the meantime, the Liberian people should suffer. No. If anything, I'm shocked that Liberian people have not gotten together, marched onto that Capitol Hill, and demanded that these people do the right thing.
Thank you.
It's just amazing.
Thank you, Michael.
And yeah.
Thank you. We got a number here from Pittsburgh. 412 area code. You're live. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, Dennis. This is George Toto.
Dr. Toto, go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you for let me say my greeting to the panelists. The situation that happened in the country right now, even though the speaker they have one or two problems to be elevated to that position, there were a lot of us that complain with trouble here, but yet the Liberian police and got it like that. And to me, the way I see the problem right now is not with Fonati Koffa, is with the so-called majority black. If they think they have the number to remove Fonati Koffa, they should go ahead and remove it. If they don't have the number to remove it, they cannot hold the horse hostage. They have a problem. And this is a situation where the Liberian people are supposed to come and speak out, take a peaceful protest, or march to that Capitol Hill and get rid of all those guys that are causing problems, and have a call for fresh election. All those speakers and other people that hold the country hostage. But I want people not to do this type of thing, but to be going around where they have it, when a gay and lesbian married baby, so they want me to be around the street. I'm in Liberia, a holy country, but these are the things I'm expecting that right there. They will not take us egg on it. But the majority, the so-called majority black, they are the problem. I don't think Fonati Koffa has a problem right there, but the speaker say, if I'm Liberia, I will support Fonati Koffa to go on to fight it until he can see reason before or he ready or resign.
All right, Mr. Toto, maybe you have taken that job at the Bon County community college there, then things will be different, but it's just a joke. Chairman, bye-bye. All right, those were
William Jala. You are next.
We have. Go ahead.
Good evening, Dennis Jad, and thanks for having me. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, go ahead, William.
And hi to your fellow panelists. Mm-hmm. I want to begin by saying that the best thing Fonati Koffa can do for himself and for the country is to resign willingly, because he's not going to win this fight when everything is said and done. It's a good thing that he's fighting back, because that's democracy. It is his right to fight back. But in the end, eventually, whether or not those who are opposing him get the number they need to ask him, remove him or not, at some point in time, public pressure will come to bear that will force him to resign. Because he cannot be the one to hold the country from moving forward just because he has to keep the speakership position. Liberia's interests far exceed that of Fonati Koffa keeping the speakership position. I think with the involvement of the Supreme Court and with the state order in place, that is put in place, I think it will follow, even exacerbate whatever is going on with him. And his situation is so complex that even seditions, there are sedition members of the House of Representatives that are opposing him. So that makes his entire situation convoluted. So I don't see how he's going to survive it at the end of the day. He's just going to fight a fruitless fight. In the end, there will be public pressure to come to bear that will force him to resign. I just wanted to interject that. Thank you.
Fidel Dennis. Final caller, Fidel Dennis. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead. 1 minute, please.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm done.
Fidel Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you.
Connect.
So that will do it for the callers, folks. Sorry, we will end it there. We are about 2 hours now. So we will leave it there for the callers. We want to say a big thanks to all those who called and participated. Well, let us bring it home and close this debate. We are almost to the 2 hours mark. Mr. Jimmy Eastman, the man from the nation's capital. What is your
I like
this debate about the future of the House of Representatives with or without Fonati? What is the future?
Year with or without year is what I would suggest, because I want to get to the root cause of this whole thing. I would suggest that the Supreme Court rules that until the investigation of bribery and whatnot are complete, and we find the culprits who initiated this bribery, that Fonati stays in office. And at the end of the day, when we find out who all was involved in this bribery, who were taking bribes and giving bribes, we have them impeached and removed from that august body, and have a new election if necessary for another speaker. But until we root out the corrupt elements, it will maintain itself. It's like this. You have a sickness in your body, but you just put a Band-Aid on it. That's not going to solve it. You have to get the cancer out. And the cancer, we have to go into the investigation, find out who is involved in these bribery and taking bribes, and remove them. Then we can begin anew.
Thank you. Mr. Ducler, what is the future of the House of Representatives with or without the speaker? You are muted, sir. Unmute yourself, please.
He's trying.
Anthony, it's bleak. It's bleak. I mean, everybody now, you see, what Jimmy was just describing, again, you are talking about a place of integrity where people will be investigated. If whoever is found culpable, they will be impeached or removed or whatever. They will be sanctioned. That happens in a place, in a functioning legislature, in a legislature where people there, they are honorable. But you cannot point to one single representative in that house who is not tainted by one form of corruption or another. Now, if you have a situation like that, like Brother Salif said rightly, replacement of Fonati can be anyone. It can be even what's his name? It can be even Koffa. because his people voted
you
for him.
really want to kill us more and more. Go ahead.
I mean, look, this is where we are. This is where we are, and so everything and anything is possible because you don't have nobody. There's no honorable man in that house as we speak. So it's become a vicious cycle where we keep going through the same thing since the bad president was set with Snow, Edwin Snow, and so as unfortunate as this situation might be, we are just in a place where until we can get the required leadership that can get us out of this mess, we're going to be here for eternity.
Did you just land?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think I had internet issue. I went off a little bit. Pastor Salif, you're closing. Is there a future for the House of Representatives with or without a speaker from now forward?
Oh, most definitely. There is future for the House of Representatives. They got, 73 members. One person leaves the helm of affairs. Another person will just take over. It's like they say, soldier come, soldier go, the barrack remains. The House of Representatives will still be there. Another corrupt person will get back there and take over, and then
And that is the future you're talking about for Liberia, corrupt future.
I mean, in our recent history, that's what it's been since the war. Is corruption has got to an astronomical level. I mean, we can't shy away from that. It's one of the dividends of the war. When we put all kinds of people in the house, then this is what we expect for Speaker Koffa. I think he's between the rock and the hard place, because I listened to his Spoon interview with Spoon himself, and one of the things he said when Spoon asked him, after all this, do you think you will resign? He said, if they get the maybe for the 9 persons, will you resign? He said, at that point, it will be no need for resignation, because once the majority black gets for the 9, they have the simple majority. He said, and they will impeach me. And that's the question I say. What do you want, Mr. Koffa? Because the longer this thing lasts, the more emboldened these people will be. Let us not forget, anytime hostility starts and it's not clear immediately, the longer it lasts, the harder it is to overcome. So it's going 2 weeks now. Mr. Koffa has not been able to come around. The 3rd week, the 4th week, it's going to get harder for him. And then other people might just say, you know what, let me just join the opposition black and get him out so we can continue business as usual. So he's between the rock and the hard place. And my advice to Mr. Koffa is, do the honorable thing like other people have done in other countries. Step down. It's a better thing for you to be on your resume than listen, for the sake of love for country. I decided the pressure was much. I step aside. What you don't want on your resume is that you were impeached, because once those people get that 2/3, they are going to impeach him. So let him just do the honorable thing and step aside.
Yeah, I don't think it's impeached. It's just removed, right?
Yeah, it's whatever term we use. 2/3 majority, they will remove him, because that's what the power the Constitution gives them. And I don't want that for him. Okay, I don't want that for Speaker Koffa. I'd rather he does the honorable thing and just step aside.
Carl, any future for the Liberian House of Representatives with or Mr. Koffa as Speaker? You are muted, Carl.
I mean, I'm not a soothsayer. I think that, of course, there's a future. I mean, we're in this present day with all kinds of chaos, with people that don't have any respect for their country or their fellow citizens, that, as someone has clearly pointed out, and I am in complete agreement with the idea that people just go there to enrich themselves. It's not about governing the country, doing the right thing. The amount of people, the overwhelming majority of people in that country really don't see Liberia as a country. They don't see it as something that they're obligated to develop and sustain and protect and uplift. It's always about what can I get? And, as soon as they get elected, they pile their children, get them passports and get them out. Because they don't respect the place. And so the future with Fonati, the future, if you even put DJ Blue or Color Green as Speaker of the House, if Fonati leaves, it's not going to fix the problem. So the solution is really with the citizens. And the citizens have to evolve in their thinking and what they think leaders should look like. And the only way the situation will improve in Liberia is when people make better choices about who they're sending to represent them. This begins with education, and it's the civic duty of every citizen who knows better to do better, and to make sure that we have voter education, that we make sure that in spite of our poverty, that we reinstate some level of dignity and pride in our citizens so that they understand what the consequences. My cousin Mikey just, when he called and he said elections have consequences. Absolutely they do. If Fonati remains, if they're not able to remove him, he's going to be just fine. I mean, people keep saying, oh, they're holding the place hostage. What do they do? What are they holding? The only thing they really did do is pass the budget, right? And we're already aware because Councilor Koffa snitched and told us, which I'm glad he did, because again, he's not a gangster. He's an intellectual. So he's going to spill the beans. He said they charged the executive just to pass the budget. They charge the various entities money to pass a budget. This is something that the Speaker of the House of Representatives stated. He's a lawyer. He would never say that if he didn't have evidence. It's not a rumor. You understand what I'm saying? He basically told us what they do, and I believe him. So this is what we're dealing with. So there's nobody holding anything hostage. Y'all acting like these people that really be governing the country and making decisions for us. They pass bills, we don't even know about it. They don't even discuss what they're passing. And it's been this way for, I mean, at least, during Ellen's time, they used to publish the bills and they used to, follow the process, and the foreign minister would have a handbill copy. You could go there and get it. That stopped happening during Weir's administration. It's continuing now. These people don't even tell their citizens what they're doing in that house. So as far, and it was the same way with Buffalo Chambers, it's that way now with Councilor Koffa. The only reason we know anything now is because there's infighting in the house. When all of them getting along, we can't hear nothing. So nobody's holding anything hostage. They've been holding us hostage since they got elected. What y'all worried about? That whole place can crumble to the ground, will make no difference. It will not take one grain of rice out of a hungry child belly because they're not doing anything. The disgrace. I want to say one last thing before I go tonight. Please. And I don't have a personal issue with DJ Blue. I actually like him. He's a nice person. And I remember him from Hot FM days back in 2010. He's a very nice person. But Blue needs to evolve. I saw him, and happy birthday to you. But I saw him post something for his birthday that was so disrespectful, in my opinion, to the young children that he had. They were eating in a frenzy like somebody were feeding dogs or chickens in a yard. You see all the little children sticking their hand and think rice flying all over the place. Then he take his spoon and scoop something to show that he's down to earth. This kind of poverty porn. Look at me, I eating with poor children. Blue, come on, man. Don't come imitate these Europeans and Westerners that come to Africa and take pictures with our children behaving like wildlife, and put our children's pictures and video of our kids behaving like this on social media for the world to see. Is disrespectful. I don't know if their parents gave them permission, but that was so appalling. I was so disgusted when I saw that. And I wanted to take this opportunity to condemn that behavior. Stop filming our children in poverty and using it as a way to boost your personal morale. Stop doing that. And it's not just Blue, but all of these people who think it's appropriate to do. They don't deserve that. If you want to feed children, do so quietly. Don't come be using our children as props in your morale boosting post. It's wrong. So I'm gonna call for DJ Blue to take that post down and never do it again. Our children are not animals. Our children are not props. These are our future leaders. This is the future of Liberia. Y'all making fun of and playing games with like this. Y'all stop it.
Carl, thank you, and I will join you to condemn DJ Blue behavior. It's very dishonorable. This man was elected by the people of Liberia, specifically his district, to provide representation, oversight, and lawmaking that will improve the material and human condition of Liberian citizens, especially Liberian children, that they will have schools to go to and be prepared to contribute to their country tomorrow. And he takes pennies out of his pocket to give them one hard meal. How many times is he prepared to do so compared to what he would do for himself? This is an example of our people electing individuals who have no understanding of their responsibility, let alone the country they try to represent in the House of Representatives. I mean, I'm sick to my stomach that our people continue to elect these people. Hear me and hear me well. Most of these people, if not some of them, will be re-elected. Our people, I don't know when they will get it, but these guys play their game so much that our people see them as saviors. This is how they get elected. Give the people crumbs, and then because the people are hungry, they are in destitution, they will appreciate them because they are in a desperate situation. So whoever shows up with anything, they appreciate that for their survival. That does not take away the fact that they are taking advantage of the people destitution. Their responsibility as elected officials is to pass laws, provide oversight that will change their human condition. But this is what they do. I don't want to preach at someone. I got one to preach tomorrow. There was an awesome debate and call. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you, gentlemen, and those who also watch Focus on Liberia. This is quality. This is a representation of Liberia, not the garbage out there. But where are our people right now? They are somewhere listening to G's and fries and nonsense. This is an example of where we are. This path is not good for our country. We need to change it. And to those who have the education and understanding of our country, I call on you tonight, stop sitting on the fence and the sidelines. There is no other savior that's going to save your country. I'm tired and sick of your crying and whining in the corners. You have a responsibility. If you can join me, let's do it. Join somebody. Make your own effort. Maybe just one day we'll get the president we need and the lawmakers we need to represent our country and be proud of our country again. Carl will tell you, watch the History Channel. You will know how good of a country we have compared to any other African country. Our history is unique. Our history can turn our budget to become 3, 4, 5 billion in 5 years' time if our leaders can provide the leadership. Just from the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism alone.
Absolutely.
You have people with bankrupt ideas who have no understanding of what they're doing. They don't want to follow president and collect pedants. They don't even have a website. How you are an information ministry for a country and no website? You're passing it around, you call yourself honorable. I'll leave it. The song says, we are all Liberians, and that song is taking us home. Until we catch you again, my name is Anthony here, and this has been Focus on Liberia Debate. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians.